So, pretty much everyone is racing to adopt AI, right? But what if there's this huge risk that we just can't see? That's what we're going to dig into today. The hidden dangers of how people and AI actually work together, and a new way to finally make that whole process measurable. Let's get things off with this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. You see, the biggest AI failures aren't always about some massive technical glitch. More often than not, they pop up in these small, routine, everyday interactions between a person and an AI, the very moments that nobody's even looking at, let alone measuring. So here's our game plan. We'll start with that big problem, the AI blind spot. Then we'll look at a different way to measure what really matters. We'll introduce you to something called the PAICE framework, break down its 5 key parts, see how it actually works, and finally, wrap up with why this approach could honestly change everything. All right, so first up, the AI blind spot. Let's really get into this major challenge that, frankly, most organizations are facing as they try to manage AI in the workplace. I mean, just think about it for a second. Companies are rolling out AI tools left and right. But the thing is, our ability to actually see how they're being used, to see where all that risk is quietly piling up, it's just not keeping pace. We have all these powerful new engines, but we're basically flying blind. So, what's the solution here? How do we get our vision back? Well, it all comes down to shifting our focus and changing what we decide to measure. We've got to look past the surface level stuff and get to what's really happening. And this is where things get really interesting. You've got this classic split between what people intend to do and what they actually do. Right now, most companies are measuring intent. Did you sign the policy? Did you finish the training module? Check, check. But that tells you nothing about real behavior. Are people double-checking the AI's work? Are they applying their own judgment? Are they taking real ownership? That's the stuff that actually matters. This analogy is just perfect. It's like a driving test. I mean, you would never just hand over the car keys to someone because they read the driver's manual, right? Of course not. You need to see them prove they can actually handle the car out on the road. It's the exact same idea with AI. Okay, so this gap between intent and behavior, this is precisely what a new framework called PACE is built to address. Let's meet the new player in the game. So PACE, it stands for People plus AI Collaboration Effectiveness. And the key idea here, the really critical part, is that it's not looking at the person in a silo or the AI in a silo. Nope, it treats them as one single system and asks a simple question. How well do they work together? And it judges that based on what you can actually see them do, their observable behavior. And look, to make something like this work, you have to build trust. So it's super important to be clear about what PACE is not. This isn't some kind of IQ test. It's not checking if you're a whiz with a specific AI tool. And it's definitely not about what you think or feel about AI. It's purely about observing behavior to understand the system, not to judge the person. All right, now we're going to get into the real nuts and bolts of the framework. PAICE breaks down what it means to collaborate well into 5 core pieces. You can think of these as the 5 pillars holding the whole thing up: performance, accountability, integrity, collaboration, and evolution. Let's walk through them one by one, starting with performance. First up, performance. And this isn't just about cranking things out faster. It's about, are you actually making the work better? Are you catching the subtle little errors that the AI might sneak in? And crucially, are you avoiding that temptation to just lean back and trust it blindly? Next, we have accountability. This one is huge. It's all about making sure a human is always in the driver's seat and responsible for the outcome. It means you're actively checking the AI's work and you're the one who owns the final product, good or bad. In fact, accountability is considered so critical that it's actually weighted more heavily in the framework's final score. And why is that? Because when you look at the big AI screw-ups, a failure of accountability is almost always right there at the scene of the crime. It's the ultimate human safety net. Number 3 is integrity. You can think of this as the ethical backbone of the whole operation. It's about using these powerful tools responsibly and making sure that what you're creating isn't misleading or biased or just plain wrong. Fourth, we have collaboration. And this one looks beyond just you and the AI. It's about how your team functions in this new world. Are you being upfront about when and how AI was used? Are you communicating its potential weaknesses to the next person in the chain who might rely on your work? And the last one, number 5, is evolution. The world of AI changes in the blink of an eye, and we have to change with it. This dimension measures the ability of that human-AI team to learn, to adapt, to get smarter over time.
And yeah, even to learn from its own mistakes.
Okay, so we've got these 5 dimensions: performance, accountability, integrity, collaboration, and evolution. But this all leads to a pretty obvious and important question, right?
Which is, how on earth do you measure all this behavior without just spying on people? I mean, that's the elephant in the room. And the framework was designed from the ground up to answer this very concern.
The answer is that PAICE has a privacy-first design baked right in. This is not about surveillance, it's not watching your every move day to day. Instead, it uses realistic scenarios. Think of them like flight simulators for AI collaboration. And, critically, before any data gets analyzed, all personally identifiable info is completely stripped away. It's looking for patterns in the system, not pointing fingers at people. So what you get at the end isn't some scary pass or fail grade. Instead, you get these capability tiers, from constrained all the way up to exceptional. This gives organizations a common language, a really clear way to see where they stand and talk about where they need to get better, all without making it about individual blame. Okay, let's pull all this together. Why does having a framework like this really change the game for how companies use AI?
It changes everything, because for the first time, it gives leaders a signal they've never had before. Instead of just guessing, they have real evidence. They can use this to have smarter conversations about risk, to zero in on the exact spots where human-AI teamwork is weak, and ultimately, to build better, safer ways of working.
But just as important as what it is what it isn't. It's absolutely not a tool to be used for hiring, firing, or promotions. It's not for your annual performance review, and it's definitely not a magic bullet that replaces a full governance program. It's a very specific tool designed to measure a very specific problem that until now has been invisible. So let's leave it with this thought. AI is no longer just a tool we pick up and put down. It's becoming a collaborator, a new kind of coworker sitting at the desk next to us. And the question a framework like this really makes us ask is a simple one, but a deep one. Are you actually ready to collaborate?